You've already fallen into this scam, and you don't even know it yet. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because right now, as you scroll through your phone, sip your coffee, or sit in traffic, someone, somewhere, is setting the trap for you. And when it snaps shut, you'll swear you saw it coming, but you didn't. It doesn't start with an obvious lie. No Nigerian prince. No lottery ticket. No ridiculous email telling you've inherited $10 million from a relative you never met. No, the modern scam starts with something far more innocent: a small favor. A harmless request. Something so tiny, you'd feel embarrassed to say no. That's how it began for Daniel Moore. Daniel wasn't careless. In fact, he prided himself on being the kind of man who could spot a scam from a mile away. 42 years old, married with 2 kids, living in a nice suburban neighborhood in Pennsylvania, Daniel had worked hard for everything he had. One Tuesday morning, while waiting in line at a coffee shop, a young woman approached him. She looked rushed, flustered. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she clutched her phone like it was her last lifeline. "Hey, I'm so sorry," she said with a nervous laugh. "My card isn't working, and my phone's about to die. Could you help me out? It's just a $3 coffee. I'll Venmo you right away." Daniel hesitated for half a second. $3? He'd spent more than that on tips without thinking twice. "Sure," he said, swiping his card and handing her the cup. She smiled, thanked him profusely, and asked for his phone number to send the payment. That was the first mistake. By that evening, Daniel's phone started glitching. His banking app logged him out. Then, small withdrawals, $2.99 here, $5.14 there, started showing up. Just low enough not to trigger fraud alerts. He called his bank. They reversed the charges. He thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, his wife, Lauren, got an email saying their mortgage payment had bounced. Daniel swore it couldn't be right, their account was full. But when he checked, the balance was zero. Every penny gone. And it all traced back to that $3 coffee. Here's what most people don't realize. Scammers have evolved. They don't just steal anymore. They build trust, one harmless step at a time, until they've got your whole life in their hands. But this wasn't just about Daniel's money. The people behind this scam weren't just after cash. They were after identities. Daniel learned the hard way. When the police came to his door, it wasn't to help him, it was to question him. His name, his ID, his social security number, had been used to rent a storage unit in another state. And inside that unit? Stacks of counterfeit checks. Dozens of fake passports. And a weapon. The officer's voice was cold. "Mr. Moore, can you explain why your signature is on these documents?" Daniel's mind spun. He had no idea who the woman at the coffee shop really was. And now, someone had framed him for a crime he didn't commit. But here's the thing, the same scam is happening to you, right now, in ways you don't even recognize. It's in that free trial you forgot to cancel. It's in that too good to be true job offer in your inbox. It's in that friendly stranger who accidentally sends you money and asks you to send it back. And once you take that first step, no matter how small, you're walking right into their web. Daniel was about to find out just how far they were willing to go. That night, as he sat in his living room trying to piece it all together, his phone buzzed with an unknown number. He answered. A voice he didn't recognize said calmly, "Daniel, stop talking to the police. Or your kids are next." Daniel's hands went cold. He gripped the phone tighter, his knuckles whitening. "Who is this?" he demanded, his voice cracking slightly. The caller chuckled softly, a sound too calm for the words that followed. "Daniel, you've already lost more than money. Do yourself a favor. Keep quiet." And then, click. Daniel sat there, the hum of the refrigerator in the background, the room suddenly feeling smaller. He wanted to tell Lauren, but how do you tell your wife that some stranger just threatened your kids, and might actually mean it? His first instinct was to call the police again. But a new fear crept in. What if they were watching him right now? That night, he barely slept. Every sound outside a car door, a bark, a distant siren made his pulse spike. At 3:17 a.m., he got up and went to check on the kids. Both were sound asleep, their small chests rising and falling in the dim glow of their nightlights. By morning, Daniel had convinced himself it was an empty threat. People talk big to scare you, right? He tried to push it out of his mind and go to work. But the scammers weren't done with him. It started with emails. First, from his bank. We detected suspicious activity and have temporarily locked your account. Click here to verify your identity. Daniel almost clicked. Almost. But something told him to log in directly instead of through the email. When he did, everything looked normal. It wasn't from his bank, it was a phishing attempt. Then came the phone calls. A man claiming to be from his mortgage company, saying there was a problem with last month's payment. He had Daniel's address, his account number, even the last 4 digits of his social security number. It sounded so official, until Daniel asked for a callback number and the man hung up instantly. That's when it hit him. They weren't just threatening him, they were wearing his life like a costume. Every detail they'd stolen was a tool to pry open another door. Why this works on almost everyone? Scammers know something most people don't want to admit. If someone sounds confident, uses your real information, and speaks with urgency, you'll believe them even when the truth is right in front of you. That's what they count on. They don't just steal your money. They steal your decision-making. Daniel decided he couldn't wait for the police to look into it. He started digging on his own. He went back to the coffee shop where it all started. The young woman? No one remembered her. But the security camera did. Daniel convinced the manager to let him watch the footage. There she was, but she wasn't alone. At a table in the corner sat a man, mid-40s, watching her the whole time. He didn't order a thing. He just sat there, phone in hand, smiling faintly. Daniel froze. He recognized him. Not from his neighborhood. Not from work. From the background of a different moment in his life, a photo taken at his son's soccer game months earlier. The man had been there, too. That night, Daniel told Lauren everything. She wanted to pack up the kids and leave town immediately. But where do you run when someone knows everything about you? They decided to stay. But they weren't going to just wait around. Daniel started tracking every scam attempt, every call, every email, every little withdrawal. And as he pieced them together, a pattern emerged. The coffee shop. The soccer game. The fake mortgage call. All the scammers were connected. And if he was right, the next move they made wouldn't just drain his bank account, it would destroy his reputation permanently. The following morning, Daniel's boss called him into his office. His face was pale. Daniel, we've received a complaint. Apparently, you've been using company resources to run a fraud ring. We have proof. The boss slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a photo of Daniel, sitting at a table covered in counterfeit money. Daniel's stomach dropped. The photo was crisp, detailed, damning. There he was, same shirt he'd worn to the office 2 weeks ago, sitting at a table stacked with counterfeit bills. His hands hovered over them like he'd just finished counting. But he'd never seen that room before in his life. This isn't me, he said, his voice sharper than he intended. I mean, it is me, but it's not real. His boss didn't blink. Daniel, the board wants you suspended effective immediately. If this goes public, we're finished. The police will be in touch. Daniel could see it in his boss's eyes, the man had already decided. It didn't matter what Daniel said. The picture was all the proof anyone needed. Walking out of the building, Daniel felt the eyes on him. Colleagues whispered as he passed. One woman avoided his gaze entirely. Outside, the cold January wind cut through his coat, but it wasn't the weather making him shiver. It was the creeping realization, they're not just stealing from me. They're making me into them. By the time he got home, his inbox was full of messages. Some were from friends asking if he was okay. Others were from strangers. Nice setup you got, more. You think you can scam my dad and get away with it? You're going to prison, you piece of. We know where your kids go to school. Lauren was pacing the kitchen when he walked in. They called me, she said, her voice trembling. Some woman said if we don't send her $10,000 by tomorrow, she's going to send proof of your criminal activity to every parent at the school. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. Lauren, none of this is real. They're fabricating everything. But in the back of his mind, he knew real didn't matter. If enough people believed the lies, the damage was the same. That night, Daniel dove deep into his own digital footprint. He found doctored images, fake social media profiles in his name, even a website that claimed to expose him as a con artist. The site had photos, fake testimonials from victims, and bank statements that looked authentic. They'd built an entire alternate version of his life, and it was convincing. Lauren sat beside him, staring at the screen. How do we fight this? She whispered. Daniel didn't have an answer. Scrolling through the fake website, Daniel noticed something small, almost nothing at all. In the corner of one photo was a reflection in a shiny surface. Not his reflection, the man from the coffee shop. The same faint smile. The same phone in his hand. It was the first concrete link between all the events. Daniel saved the image, enhanced it, and tried a reverse image search. The results came back empty except for one obscure hit on a forum buried deep in the internet. A username, HarborMaster77. The forum was full of chatter about social engineering and fools, slang for complete identity profiles sold to criminals. And there, in a thread from 6 months ago, HarborMaster77 bragged about the easiest loan con I ever ran in Pennsylvania. Daniel's blood ran cold. Just as Daniel copied the page to send to the police, a new message popped up in the forum's chat window. It was from HarborMaster77. Stop digging, Daniel. You're in deeper than you think. No one outside that forum should have known he was even there. Lauren's hand gripped his arm. Daniel, how does he know you're online right now? Daniel didn't answer. He already knew. They had access to his computer. The next morning, there was a knock at the door. 2 men in dark suits stood on the porch. Mr. Moore, we're with the FBI. We need to ask you a few questions. Daniel's heart pounded. If he went with them, could he finally prove his innocence? Or was this just another layer of the trap, a final move to make him disappear? As the agents led him toward their car, Daniel's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Those aren't FBI agents. Daniel's legs froze mid-step. The men in suits turned, noticing his hesitation. Is there a problem, Mr. Moore? One of them asked, his tone measured, professional, maybe too professional. The text was still on his screen. Those aren't FBI agents. Can I see your badges again? Daniel asked, keeping his voice as steady as he could. The taller man pulled out a leather wallet, flipping it open just enough for a flash of gold. Too fast. Too convenient. I'm going to call your field office to confirm, Daniel said. That's when the shorter one's jaw tightened. That won't be necessary. Sir, we're on a tight schedule. Please step inside the vehicle. Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. If he refused, would they force him? If he went, would he come back? He forced a smile. Give me 1 second, I need to grab my coat. Inside the house, he closed the door, grabbed Lauren by the wrist, and whispered, take the kids to the neighbors. Now. Lauren didn't ask questions. She'd seen that look in his eyes before, the look from the night of the first threat. Daniel slipped into the back hallway and out the side door, moving quickly through the yard and down the alley until he was 2 streets over. He dialed 911, but the dispatcher cut him off. Mr. Moore, I need to inform you there's already a warrant for your arrest. Multiple counts of wire fraud. Officers are en route to your home right now. Daniel's chest went cold. That's impossible. It's fabricated. Sir, I can't speak to that. If you cooperate, it will go better for you. The line went dead. Daniel ducked into an empty parking garage, sitting low behind a row of cars. He had one lifeline left, his friend Mark, a cybersecurity analyst who owed him a favor. Mark answered on the second ring. Danny? What's going on? Your face is all over the news. They're framing me, Mark. I need help. Mark sighed. I figured. I've been tracking some strange network activity linked to your accounts. It's a ghost setup, dozens of VPN chains, burner servers, AI-generated emails. This isn't a small operation. Whoever's behind it has deep pockets and government-grade tools. Daniel leaned against the cold concrete wall. Can you trace it? A pause. Maybe. But if I do, they'll know I'm looking. And if they're the people I think they are, you won't just be dealing with scammers. You'll be dealing with ghosts. Before Daniel could respond, another call came in, a blocked number. Against his better judgment, he answered. A familiar voice purred into the speaker. The woman from the coffee shop. Daniel, you're running out of time. We can make all this go away. One job. One transfer. You help us, and we wipe you clean. Daniel's mind raced. If he refused, the life he knew was over. If he accepted, he was in their pocket forever. Lauren's words from months ago echoed in his head. Where do you run when they know everything about you? Mark's voice crackled back through the line. Danny, whatever you do, don't hang up on them. I just traced her location. Daniel froze. Where is she? Mark's voice dropped to a whisper. She's in your house. Daniel's grip tightened on the phone. Mark, are you sure? I'm staring at the IP signature right now, Mark replied. She's on your home network. Either she's physically inside, or someone let her in. Lauren. Daniel bolted from the garage, weaving through back streets toward his neighborhood. Every step was a war between speed and stealth. His mind raced. What if Lauren's hurt? What if the kids? He didn't finish the thought. From half a block away, he saw it, his house, front door ajar, a faint light flickering inside. He stepped through the doorway, every muscle tense. Lauren? His voice was low but urgent. From the kitchen, a woman's voice answered, smooth, controlled. She's fine, Daniel. We're just talking. The woman from the coffee shop emerged, holding a steaming mug like she owned the place. Lauren stood behind her, pale, but unharmed. You move fast, the woman said with a faint smirk. That's good. We need people who can keep up. Daniel's fists clenched. You set me up. You destroyed my life. We rebuilt it, she countered. Now you have a choice, you work for us, and all this vanishes. Or you refuse, and the arrest warrant becomes a prison sentence. Mark's voice was still in Daniel's ear through his hidden earpiece. Danny, stall her. I'm seconds away from pushing everything I've found to a federal contact I trust. But if she realizes, she'll bolt and we lose her. Daniel needed her to stay. So he played along. All right, tell me what you need. Her eyes lit up, sharks smell blood in the water. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. One transferred $2.7 million from an account in Zurich to an unlisted receiver. You do this, and you're free. In his earpiece, Mark hissed, got it, sending now. The woman's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and her smirk vanished. Daniel, she said slowly, what did you just do? A deafening crash, the front window shattered as a tactical team in black swept in, shouting commands. The woman lunged for Lauren, but Daniel was faster, tackling her into the counter. In seconds, she was cuffed, struggling, spitting venom. You think this ends with me, she hissed as they dragged her away. We were just the front line. The people above me? They already have your file. Daniel's breath came in ragged bursts. The agents swarmed the house, securing laptops, hard drives, devices he didn't even know he owned. Hours later, the house was quiet. Lauren sat beside him, still shaken. It's over, right? Daniel stared at the dark screen of his phone. He wanted to say yes. But then it lit up with a single new message from an unknown number. Nice move tonight. We'll be in touch. Daniel's story isn't just fiction, this is how real, organized digital manipulation works. They don't just take your money. They take your name, your image, your truth. And the worst part? You might not even know it's happening until it's too late.